you for tuning into
WarRap Radio Podcast.
This show is sponsored by
Bird T-shirt, signs, and embroidery.
For all your printing needs.
We are located at
118 Trinity Road, Saluda.
We can be reached at 864-445-2616
or 803-317-7760, and that's for Beverly.
Welcome to the Finding Me show. I am Cheryl Morton, your host. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are asking you to share this podcast tonight. We hope that you guys are doing well on this beautiful Tuesday evening, because it's still beautiful, a little bit chilly. It's not as warm as it has been being for the last couple of days, but it's still very nice. So guys, we're asking you to share tonight. Tonight, we are having an open forum. Tonight, this is going to be a night that you can call in with any questions or comments or anything that you would like to say, or something that you would want to discuss. This is an open forum tonight. We had a guest to cancel, and so we're just going to do an open forum tonight. Minister Natasha is away tonight. She's doing some wonderful, amazing things. But again, I am going to let her share. I'm sorry, guys, these masks. I'm going to let her share her exciting news whenever she gets back. So, guys, we are asking you guys to tune in, to share. We're asking you to call in. The number is 864-445-2616. Again, the number is 864-445-2616. The Finding Me show starting this month. This month for Finding Me is actually... This is the month that Finding Me was birthed. It was birthed on March the 10th. So that will be next week. But Finding Me ministry was birthed on March the 10th of 2018. And I'm just so excited what God is doing in the ministry, through the ministry. I'm really excited about it. He's doing amazing things. This ministry is helping women to come out of to some of the things that they've been going through. It's helping them to be, they're being encouraged, they're inspired, they just love doing, some of the things that they may not have been doing before. This ministry just does a lot of encouraging. So starting tonight, actually, on each Tuesday night, I will have some of my sisters that are part of the Focus on Freedom will come on and do 15 minutes of whatever it is that they want to share with you. That will start tonight. So tonight at 6:30, my sister Tamiko Tut will have tips from Tut tonight. We will have tips from Tamiko Tut, and we're calling it Tips from Tut. She will be on for every first Tuesday of the month, sharing information with you. Tamiko is a clinical therapist, licensed clinical therapist, and she is going to give us, and a counselor, she's going to be giving us some tips to whatever it is that she wants to talk about. But tonight, again, the phone lines are open, 864-445-2616. We're asking you to call in if you have any questions, any topics that you want to discuss. But listen, I'm going to start. Um, like I say, this ministry was born in 2018, and the ministry is to encourage, to inspire, to motivate, and to empower women to be everything that God has created them to be. And it is doing just that. I am so excited. I'm so amazed at what God is doing in and through the ministry. Lives are being set, people are being saved and set free, and people are, growing closer to the Lord. And it's just, the sisterhood is amazing. On Saturday, I was with one of my little sisters, Sister Charlene Holback. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She came out with her ministry. It's called, I think it's, if these walls had eyes. So her ministry was birthed on Saturday. It was an awesome occasion. Other sister, Elder Cynthia Rosemond, she gave us a mighty word, and a mighty word it was. It was just such an amazing event. The atmosphere was beautiful. The music was wonderful. Minister William Butler, he did a beautiful job. Everybody that was on program, it was just so beautiful. And that's what it's about. Whatever God has given you, whatever assignment he has given you, we encourage you to do it. We encourage you to walk in God's will, but to walk in your assignment, to walk into anything, whatever it is that God has assigned you to do. We want you ladies to do that. We want you to walk in your assignment. It is time to get up. It is time to move. I don't know what that assignment is. It may be, you may be a good cook. So it may be catering. You may be a good seamstress. So it may be making clothes for someone. You may be a model. You may be, I don't know what you are. You may be a good writer, so it's writing a book. So there's so much that we can do as women, as sisters, as sisterhood. We can come together. That's what I want us to do. Come together in unity. Please come together in unity. If you are tired of seeing everyone else's light shining, it's time to turn your light on. Sometimes we get tired. I'm tired of seeing her. I'm tired of seeing her light shines. Well, turn your light on. It's up to you to turn the switch on. Take the switch and turn the switch on. Do that. It's time to let your light shine so that people will see what God has placed in you. It's time for all the jealousy, the envy, the strife to go away. It's time to come together in unity, especially for God's people. If we say that we are God's people, that we are working for the Lord, then we need to come together and stop all the backbiting, all the hatred, all the jealousy, all the strife. It is just time to stop it. It's time to get rid of those things. That's what we need to do. Get rid of those things and just love on each other. And that's what this ministry is going to do. That's what this ministry was birthed to do. That's what this ministry, and everybody may not like it. If this ministry is not for you, then there are so many other ministries out there. Then join the other ministry. But this ministry is about love. We're about love. We're going to show you love. We're going to give you love. And some people don't want love. So, if people don't want the love, we won't push our love on you. So it's just really up to you to receive the love, but we're going to give it no matter what, because we want to do what thus says the Lord. And that's what this ministry is all about. And listen, I just want you guys to be encouraged to never give up on your dreams, to go for your dreams, to go for whatever it is that God has given you to do. We want you to do that very thing. We know that a lot of you are doing things in life that maybe putting a little halt on what your plans are, what it is that you need to do. But guess what? Your time is going to come. Your time is going to come. And while you're in preparation, you can be just putting things aside, writing things down, because during this pandemic, this is a perfect time to be writing notes, to get your journal, to write down the steps that you need to take whenever you are not doing the things that you're doing right now. Your kids may be still in school. Your kids may need, you have to take them this place and that place, but your time is coming. But you can be in preparation until that time comes, because preparation is a wonderful thing. You know, a lot of times we don't want to prepare for things. We just want to jump out there. And I tell you, having a ministry is not easy. There's so much work to having a ministry. It is not easy, I promise you. And I thank God for my assistant. I'm so excited about Minister Natasha. She has been a great asset to the ministry, because she stepped in when I needed help. I was doing it all by myself, and she stepped in and has been amazing ever since she stepped in to help me with the ministry. Love her very much, and I'm just excited again about what God is doing in her life. Ladies, call in. I see you on here. My sister-in-law Pam, call in. I know we got some conversation to have. 864-445-2616. I want you guys to call in if you have a question, if you want to talk about a subject that we need to discuss, because Tamika will be coming on at 6:30. Tamika will be calling in at 6:30, and she's going to share some information with us. So we asking you guys, call in if you have a question. Don't be shy. We want to talk about some things. So go ahead and pick up the phone and call in. And in the meantime, while nobody's calling in, I'm gonna touch on a subject, guys, that I'm gonna be doing a show really soon on this subject. And it's a touchy subject. You know, it's a subject that another thing about Finding Me Ministry, we talk about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about. We have discussions that help people, that really help people. You know, the question of the day, when we do those, sometimes every time I put a question, no matter how simple the question is, someone inboxes me and tells me thank you, because that's something that they needed at that particular time. Because you know, we don't always want to hear from the people that are around us, that are close to us, because sometimes people that are close to us won't be truthful. They'll just tell us what we want to hear. But if we hear other people's perspective of how they think about a situation, then it kind of gives us another outlook on it. So those questions of the day, in fact, I had a message that one of those questions of the day actually changed a situation in their life that had been going on for years. And just that question of the day has changed that situation and turned it all the way around, which is amazing. It is amazing, because those questions help us to, again, get other people's perspective of things. We can't always think that our way is right. You know, sometimes we just think everything that we do or say is correct, and it's not. Everything that we say isn't correct. I'm wrong sometimes, you're wrong sometimes, and we have to admit that we're wrong. And do we try to get, some of us try to get everything right? Yeah, you do, but you're not. None of us are going to be right every time. Sometimes we get it wrong. I put a statement on there a couple weeks ago about I call my other person Cheryl Lynn. Whenever someone really, it takes a lot to get me angry, but whenever they do, Cheryl Lynn can come out. But Cheryl Lynn, the Holy Spirit kept Cheryl Lynn in, and I'm glad that the Holy Spirit did. But that helped somebody, because we have to be honest and truthful about life. Life happens, so nobody is so strong, so super saved that nothing ever touches them. Nothing ever gets them angry. Nothing ever gets them mad. But I was able to quickly. I wasn't. The Holy Spirit was quick to remind me, do not, Cheryl. Hello, caller.
Hi, this is Pamela Morton.
Hi. How are you, dear? How are you doing, sister?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm absolutely awesome.
Well, you asked me to call in, so
So listen, I know you've been on the show once before about, and we were talking about marriages and stuff. But
yes,
I wanted you to touch on, we haven't had a chance to touch on, you are a caregiver for your mom.
right.
And I want you to touch on that a little bit with us to share some of that, because a lot of people are actually caregivers, and um, that's a lot. It takes a lot to be a caregiver. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Caregiving is, and probably for most people, it's not something that you sign up to do. Um, but just like your show, I heard you earlier saying that, people have, they have a ministry within them, they have a gift within them, let your light shine. I heard you saying all of that. Um, but sometimes life takes you on what I would call a detour. My mother, she turned 92 in
Amen.
July, and you know her.
Hmm.
A lot of people were taught by her. In case people don't know, because like I said, my last name is Morton now, but many people were taught by her. Julia Jackson. She taught in Edgefield. She taught in Abbeville. She retired from Ware Shows. But basically, the life of the party. She loved to dance. I think one Christmas Eve, because we always, before pre-COVID, we got together, and I think one Christmas you videoed her,
Hmm.
even with the children dancing,
Hmm.
and so um, even in her dementia stage, Julia's still in there.
Hmm.
But to see a person that um, they to see a person that would go places on their own. I mean, she drove people younger than her to the doctor. I mean, Columbia, Greenville, all different places. And so when it first started happening, and like I said, I'm sure this is with a lot of people. First, like we're kind of in denial because you're not looking for it to happen. Dementia, it's very prevalent. When my birthday comes around, I try to encourage people to donate to the Alzheimer's Association, and I know there's other places out there, but we're getting to that stage. She was blessed that it didn't hit her until like her late 70s, 80s, 90s. But it's like taking care of a grown child, and we're still working. All of her children still work. All of us live here except for one. One lives in Georgia. Basically, my sister and I, do the main care just because we feel like she's a female. That's probably what she would want anyway. My oldest brother, he'll sit with her. My niece, everybody chips in when necessary. But we work full-time jobs. We leave those jobs. Um, um, she has caregivers. We've been through several caregivers. Her first caregiver had to stop because of medical issues that she was having.
Mm.
Um, um, all
It's
I
just a
can
lot.
say is, it's very tiring, but when me being a Christian and of the Bible, it says that we are to take care of the
Hmm.
children, or to take care of the widows.
Absolutely.
She's a widow, so we have to take care, of her. So she has caregivers during the day when we're at work, and then we take care of her in the evenings, and you just kind of have to divvy it up. But that person, again, to see her not be the person that she was, um, there are good days. There are days when we laugh. She still makes us laugh. She still likes to dance. Try to get her to exercise sometimes, and that's the only thing I'm looking forward to spring. Because between COVID and the cold, she's been having to stay in the house, and so but when it's nice outside, the caregivers take her outside. We take her outside because she was always one that did her flowers. She had a little garden in her flower bed. Again, she went wherever she wanted to. I mean, even to the point, I make people laugh, even to the point, I used to tell, I said, that's what you get for being so grown. One time she drove to Anderson and didn't tell us that she was going, and she locked the keys in the car. And so the guard for the mall was closing. Let her stay inside with him or her. I don't remember if it was a male or female. And my sister had to take her the keys. And so we picked that and was like, that's what you get for being so grown. Think you can go and not tell nobody what you thought we were going to ask you to bring us something back. We grown kids, but that was the type of person she did. She would buy us stuff, and whatever. But she went as she pleased. She went to her doctor's appointments. We didn't have to take her. Now we have to take her. She took other people to the doctor, So, just to see that, like I said, and as far as ministry, I say all the time, I'm so proud of you, and I'm proud of what you're doing. And I used to tell you all the time, Cheryl, you can do it. You can do it. There were things that I would do, and you was like, I don't see how you do it. God gives you what you need in order to do it.
Yes, he does.
And so, I know that this is just a season in our life. Even though she has dementia, can't have the conversations like we used to have, I still pray long life for her. But my time is coming.
Absolutely.
I'm going to, praise you and support you. And I know when my turn comes that you will do the same.
Absolutely.
For me.
I would definitely do that.
But there are resources out there. I'm sure we haven't tapped into all the resources. As a matter of fact, it's funny that you asked me that, because that's what I was going to say is because people our age and younger are now having to take care of our parents, I would like for one of your future shows to, have someone on there, maybe from like hospice or the Alzheimer's Association or something like that, so that other people know resources.
Okay.
Like I said, we are blessed that, my sister and I are in good health. And, me and my siblings, we're able to take care of my mom. But there are some people out there that don't have that, and they have to work, because they have to pay the bills. They have to pay, the caregivers. They have, so I think that would be a good show to do, because I know I don't know all the resources that are out there.
Well, that's a great. I have that written down, and I will definitely put that on the schedule, because you're right. That would be awesome. It's always good to give resources when people, don't know what the resources are. And again, you guys are blessed, so that's a wonderful thing. And you're right. Your time is coming. God's got it all worked out. It's going to happen. You've always spoke that many, many years ago. You've always spoke that. And I thank you for always it being encouraged. And that's one thing about this Morton family. We're a family of love and encouragement. And I love you guys very much.
Yes. And I want to thank you for, I love talking about finances. So the last 3 shows, I mean, I truly enjoyed the last 3 shows, and to see to hear a couple, working together.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. Like you said, Vernon and I were on the show, talking about couples, and that's one area that we're still working on, because when you bring in different ways of managing. His family taught him one way, he taught me another. And then when you come together, you've got to figure out what works for you as a couple.
Absolutely.
And, we have done well. We really have. But there are still some areas that we don't agree on.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one of our goals. That is one of our goals for this year is to, allow God to help us even in the finances, so that there's not arguments or disagreements or whatever, or even if there are disagreements, that they're not ones that's going to stall our future.
Absolutely. That's so important. Like you said, as far as a couple with the finances and talking about what to do and how to handle your finances. And I know Eric and I, thank God, are on the right track also. And we're working. That's why I wanted to do the finances, because God is doing amazing things, and we all should know about, life and when we get older, when what to leave for our children, and to teach our children the same wealth so that they won't have to deal with some of the issues that we had to deal with. So that was a great thing. I'm gonna have them back too in the future, because I've gotten a lot of response from the finance, and then to have our final sister who brought it in biblical terms. My God,
she was rattling off scriptures too fast for me, and unfortunately, I'm not gonna say unfortunately, but unfortunately, on Tuesday nights, like you were talking about the caregiving, that's where I am now. And so, I'm listening to your show and taking care of my mother. So, there's only so much I can do, because like I said, she's still active. She's, thank God she's not bedridden or anything like that. So it's like I have to, just like I'm talking to you now, but I'm walking around following her around.
Oh, okay.
If she wants to walk, because you don't want them to sit too long or whatever. You don't want them to forget how to do, their faculty. She still feeds herself, all that kind of stuff. So it's like I said, I'm here. I listen to your show. I type comments when I can. You asked me to call in. I called in. But even, tying the two together, her illness and me being a caregiver, it has taught me that with finances, you need to even be prepared for that. I think the couple was saying 6 to 9 months worth of, if something were to happen, you're supposed to save up 6 to 9 months. And that goes into wills, it goes into power of attorney.
Yep, everything.
That's, like I said, caregiving is such a broad subject, and we don't want to talk about it, but we all gonna leave here one day.
Absolutely.
My prayer is that I don't leave before she does. I want to be here to take care of her. And I feel like I know God always has it worked out, but I feel like if something happens to me before her, then what's going to happen to her? What's going to happen to my sister? Because it's all going to be on her. All those things, if you have siblings, you need to have those discussions.
Absolutely.
If your parents are still living, what are you going to do?
We're starting to have those. Pam, it's been great, but I have my the sister that's calling in at 6:30 for her time for the
Okay.
But thank you so much for calling in. You gave some really, you wouldn't believe how many people you've just helped. Just from the people are going through with the having to take care of their parents. Some people don't go do it as well. So
Right.
you just really help somebody. And if you, again, we're going to do a show specifically about that. So
Okay.
I just wanted you to talk about it and to share with us tonight. But thank you so much for calling in. We greatly appreciate you.
All right. Love you.
Love you too. Take care. You too. Bye-bye. Tell Mama Jackson hello. Okay, guys, that was my sister-in-law. And many of you that are listening are caretakers, so you guys know a lot of what she was saying, and you have to deal with it we just, when my mother-in-law was sick for that. Okay, we got another call. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Tamiko. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. How you doing?
I am absolutely awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in, ladies. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry there are men listening also. So, this is the first Tuesday in March, and we are starting our series of 15 minutes with our sisters of each Tuesday. So, each first Tuesday, unless she has something to do, Miss Tamiko Tut is going to be on here with us and sharing. She's going to be giving us tips from Tut. So, Tut, I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to let you do your thing.
Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your show. I appreciate that. Um, First of all, I just like to say it's just an honor for you to even consider me for this. Again, thank you. Um, I was a little puzzled in what I wanted to talk about for Tip for Tut, but the first thing that popped into my mind was about this pandemic. We have so many people that are going through, and it's one of those things that has truly affected everyone. And one of the concerns that I've had is I've seen the emotional health of people really, really change. Um, when you look at the things that people have experienced during this pandemic, the biggest thing we look at is, of course, the illness itself and the way it has affected families. There's been so much death. There's been so much sickness. And then the financial, aspect of it all. And people are really, really hurting. People are missing things in their lives. They're missing social gatherings. They're missing that family time. Some people have still not gone back to work. And, just that social connection with everybody. And it's important for you to keep yourself emotionally and mentally healthy during this time. But there are some ways that we can go forward and make the best of it. My youngest daughter told me the other day, she's like, Mama, it's been a year. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe it's almost been a year of wearing masks and social distancing and all of this. And when everything has come back, it's really like, how did we really survive this year? I tell everybody, this should be a time of reflection. Make the best of your situation. It's a time to gather your thoughts and concerns. If you're one of those people that's working from home, or if you are, a healthcare hero, or whatever your role is, make the best of your time. Gather your thoughts, your concerns. And I encourage people to sit down with pen and paper, evaluate your personal situation. And what I mean by that is this pandemic has changed the way we do things. There have been people that are, affected definitely financially, whether it be a decrease in hours or increase in hours, however that is, not to just bury your head in the sand when the problems come your way. But this is a time, I heard your sister-in-law talk about resources. This is definitely a time of resources. If there are people out here listening that are going through, and even if they aren't listening to the ones that are listening, someone that's going through something, whether it be financially, due to this pandemic, like I tell everybody, this pandemic has had some pluses. I haven't had paying student loans.
You got that right. Thank you, Lord.
When I hear of something positive, and when I get a little taste of some resource medicine, some information, I want to share it on with other folks. For those people that have mortgages, for those people that have credit card debt, for those people that are, just whatever your creditor may be. I'm not telling you to abuse it, but if you need it, you may need to tap into those resources. I do know for South Carolina residents, there is a program I keep forgetting the name of it, and I'm going to have to research it and get it to you, Cheryl, so
Okay.
that people will know what it is. They are back in business. It's not South Carolina Help. I think that one is gone away. But there's another agency out there now that has funds that will pay rental assistance and mortgage payments for people if they have been in some way affected by the coronavirus, I think. So those are resources. Don't sit there when Regions Bank and Bank of America calling your phone and you won't answer. Answer and say, do you have something that can help me because I'm hurting financially right now?
Mm-hmm.
And because of this pandemic, you're not having to jump through hoops with all this paperwork that you normally would have to do. And even if you did, if it's going to save your home,
That's right.
save your car, save your credit rating, whatever it is, go ahead and do it. Those are the things that people are not talking about. They're not talking about, I'm a payment away from losing my car. I'm a mortgage payment away from
you're
losing
right.
my house, although I'm still working. People are hurting all over. And sometimes stress has a way of just weighing us down so we feel like we can't get up, whether it's that emotional, physical, mental, whatever kind of stress it is. You know, sometimes we just got to fight our way out of it. You know, when we look at things about stress and this pandemic, we can run into roadblocks. The worst that somebody can tell you is no. And if they tell you no, guess what? You don't just sit there and bury your head in the sand. We got to find a way to explore things. I'm going to Vegas in a couple of months, and I was teasing with one of my friends that's going with me. I said, I guess I'm just going to have me a hot dog sale to raise me some money so I can have some good spending money. But you know what? I said it for a joke. Then I thought about it. I said, you know what? That's not a bad idea.
Somebody will buy them. You'll be surprised. You're right.
The last time we did a hot dog sale, we raised over $1,000.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking at it like, you know what? We didn't invest much, but y'all would be amazed at how many people will pull up, not want your hot dogs, and just make a donation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was for a good cause. So I love praise the group. But this type of thing, you know, we got to learn how to be creative during this time.
Yes.
We have to learn how to be spearhead our problems head on instead of trying to dodge and duck them. You know, because all that does in the end is cause you more and more stress. Mm-hmm. It really does.
It does.
You know, so that's the benefit of it.
When I tell you, you have just brought some excellent points. That what you said. A lot of people don't talk about their payment away from losing their car, their payment away from losing their house, but there are resources out there. You are absolutely right, and just if you just talk to your creditors. I remember when the job shut down that I have been working on for 21 years. It shut down. Yeah. And those resources were there. Like you were talking about the South Carolina Help. And guess what? They gave us the information at work. They gave us all of that. I never knew anything like that existed. And guess what they did? They paid like 3 months of our house payment. Now, my husband was still working, and they knew that because you have to turn in everything. But they paid 3 months of our house payment. So that allowed us to do whatever else. You know, we never missed a beat because the help was there.
Exactly. You know, some of us let this thing called pride get in our way.
Mm-hmm. I learned.
And that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
You know, you need to really be able to focus and say what your problems are. Anytime we're met with change like this pandemic, I went through a 3-month furlough last year, and I didn't miss a beat. I just verbally expressed to my other job that, hey, I'm on furlough. So, and my supervisor immediately said, well, you know what? Just make those hours up here. As long as we can maintain it, we'll be fine. You see how sometimes just simply opening your mouth just changed my whole situation. I didn't miss a beat.
Absolutely.
But if you sit there and soak in it and you bury your head and you don't meet your problem head on, it may end up catching up with you in the end.
That is so true.
I'm notorious for making lists of issues or things I need to tackle. And y'all, don't get me wrong. I am one of the world's biggest procrastinators. But when some things, you know, we don't have time to procrastinate. We have to go ahead and spearhead it and get it moving. And it's hard to do when you're going through certain things, especially when it deal with financial stuff and it's just so stressful. Nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody wants to talk about it. I'm single, but then you got that marriage aspect as well, or those joint households, because you have families now that you have. I heard you have like caregivers, like your sister-in-law spoke of earlier. You know, being a caregiver, you got finances, and figuring all of this stuff into this is guaranteed money. I tell people all the time, always count your guaranteed money first. You know that money coming regardless. Then count your money as tentative money, because again, we don't know if our job is promised to us.
Mm-hmm.
Those different things, you have to be able to say, what can I pay out of this? What takes priority? When is this due? So if you have a plan, that takes a lot of stress off of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it also sets people up for going into payoff mode. Now, I'm not a financial guru. These are just some tips that have worked for me, because I have been one of those people that have buried my head in the sand before and be like, oh my gosh, I'm just drowning. I don't know where to go. Everything is behind. This is behind. Then I said, you know what? Let me get it together. But if you look at it, some of these things that have occurred have actually, helped us. Like I said, a lot of your creditors will also remind you, even if you're in your bill statements. I'm notorious for not. I still get my paper statements, but I don't open them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have I got 2 of those Capital One credit cards, and they'll send you something in there. If you're having difficulty making your payment, or you feel like you may need assistance, call this number. And I'm looking and say, okay, I didn't miss a payment, but they're letting you know in advance. If you run into this issue, then this is available for you. And I'm sure there's others as well. Are there any questions or comments, Cheryl?
Well, I'm just appreciating what you've said, because you just really open up a whole box, because again, this pride thing will keep us. It goes back to being in bondage. This pride thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you need help, open your mouth. And sometimes it's a simple thing. Is like you said, don't avoid the creditors. Just answer the phone and just tell them, I'm in a bind. I don't have it. You would be surprised. Like I said, back then, when my job shut down, I just talked to them. Listen, my job is shut down. I'm not working. And, I started school. I didn't work for 2 years. And my husband allowed me to do that. I didn't work for 2 years. But again, we never missed a beat, because you just had conversation with the creditors. They worked with me and everything. And it was just awesome. But sometimes it's just a simple conversation, because they have things in place for people that can't make it. When, even like with a loan, when you get a loan, that's one thing they tell you. If you see, what is the thing? If we're going to have some issue, call me and we can talk about it. They'll let you know that up front. So avoiding them is not the thing to do. You just gave us some great information.
Yeah. And it's hard to deal with, because nobody wants to call. Like you said, that part thing and say, hey, I can't pay this bill. But you don't have to wait till you're behind. I can see, if I know that my money is running low and it's going to be like this for the next 2 months, let me go ahead and call these people and see if they got a program or something that we could work out. I know a lot of the mortgage companies, what they're doing is they're forbearing or giving you a couple of months. Most of them is 2 to 3 months. They'll say, okay, don't make a payment for 2 to 3 months, and we're going to add it in onto the back end of your mortgage. So you might get 3 months of breathing space of not having to pay your mortgage payment. They're adding it onto the back end, and they're going to get their interest. But guess what? You're able to breathe a little bit.
That's right, and you're not stressed about it. You're not losing sleep
stressed about it. You might be able to say, well, okay, so I don't have to make my mortgage payment for 3 months. I may be able to go ahead and pay my car insurance up for the year. Everybody's situation is different. My car insurance looked like a mortgage payment to some folks.
Oh, mine too.
So
Ours
that's
too.
one of the things that I'm focused on every month, car insurance. Like I said, everybody's household is different. You may have a household where everything is under a certain amount and you're doing well. But you have to project in there is illness and everything else. You have to kind of be on top of those things. And you have to look at these. What happens to me if I get coronavirus? Will my job pay me still? Am I entitled to some funds? Will I be able to go back to work? A lot of people are not talking about that after effect of the coronavirus. Some people are not able to return to work afterwards. It
You're
just
right.
depends.
You're right. Well,
Yeah. So it's a long list of unknowns. Definitely a long list of unknowns.
well, let me tell you something. The tips from Tut has been absolutely amazing. You gave us some great tips, Tut, and I thank you. I thank you for sharing all those things with us, and preferably our listeners and viewers will take some of those things in mind, what you said, to go ahead and talk to the people, put that pride aside, and go ahead and just ask for the help, and to so that you won't have to worry about dealing with all those issues, or at least some of them. You'll get some relief. And if you have a roof over your head and food in your stomach, lights on, those are some of the, well, let me speak for myself. I don't know, some things are different priorities for different people, but for me, those are mine. Somewhere to lay my head, my lights, and I gotta have me some food. That's me. I gotta eat. But I mean, different things for different people. But you gotta have your priorities intact. So, you want to share anything else before you get off the line?
No, again, I just truly thank you for even having me on. I appreciate it. If the listeners have anything that they would like talked about specifically, I'm more than happy to deal with that. I do have one comment referencing back to Sister Pam about her mother and caregiver roles. I am a medical social worker, so I run into that issue a lot of times. I encourage all of us, especially those of us that have our parents and our siblings. We don't know what the future holds. Please sit down with your family and have a conversation about what we're going to do with mama, daddy, whatever. Discuss the finances, the living arrangement, because there's nothing worse than having a family member come to the hospital and there's not a plan, or it's never been talked about. Those are some things that you really need to talk. You need to even talk about your own children. I tell my kids all the time, y'all gonna buy me one of the mini houses and put it in the backyard. I'm not going in the nursing home. Not gonna happen.
You just see, again, this information. Well, I think I'm just gonna hold you on this phone. You are so right. Is there another line that they can call in if somebody had a question? But you're right, because it's so important. My mom and I have been having these conversations lately because, of course, mom is older. Mom is 75. She's going to be 76 in June. So we have these, we've been having them for a long time. The questions about, leaving here, and my family and Eric and I and the kids, we've had conversations about, because it's life. Not just because you're old, things happen, and you don't know. None of us know when we're going to leave. So we need to talk about those things. What's going to happen? What's going to happen we talk to our kids. Like when Eric and I went on a vacation, we both were flying. We talked to them. Prayerfully, look, we said we're going to live to be 102, and we claim victory, we speak life, but we still talk to them. What if both of us, passed away? What if something happened? Yeah. Well, you, Terrence, you do this, Abria, you do this, and we already, it's just good to have that. And my mom has a living will. That's another thing that's important that people need to do, get a living will. Now, I myself still haven't gotten that, but I do. As far as my life insurance, we have all that written out, what goes to who and all that stuff. But it's important. You're right. It's important. So touch on that just a little bit more, because that's what you actually do. People need to know that is something that they need to talk about.
Yeah. Those conversations, there's nothing worse than having siblings come, wherever it is, hospital, at the house, wherever it is, to come together and say, listen, mama, daddy, whoever. You might be responsible for auntie or uncle or older sibling or impaired sibling or family member, and say, listen, They're not getting any younger. What's the plan if, you know, it's an end of life situation? What do we want to see? I've already expressed to my kids, and my kids are young. I have one that's an adult and two that are minors. And I've already let them know my wishes as far as what I expect regarding life support and those type situations. And I hope and I pray that they honor those wishes. You know, I'm like you. I'm only 47 right now. I have not put in a living will, but this is my thing. They know due to the decisions that had to be made with their father, I am different.
Mm-hmm.
And I've expressed that to them. But, y'all, there's nothing worse than coming into a situation where one sibling wants the mom on life support and the other one wants hospice. It's important to have those conversations with the loved one as well before they even get to that point. Your loved one might not want to be hooked up to ventilators.
Yeah, that's some deep stuff to talk about. You're right.
And I know it's a hard conversation, but it takes the stress off of you. And mamas and daddies got their favorite child, but everybody need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to be a part of that conversation. You can say it's okay for Bubba to be in charge, and I've let Bubba know that I don't want to be on a ventilator. And you can go ahead and nail it out to the funeral home. And say which one of the funeral homes you want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but those are the conversations. You know, when we were born living, we were born to die.
That's right.
So guess what? It's going to happen to everybody. That's a surefire ticket right there.
It's going to happen. And when if you've never dealt with having to, plan for a loved one's death, it's a hard process. You know, I had to do it with my aunt to help my cousin out because it was just him. He was her only child. And then we had to do it with my brother. And it's a lot. If you haven't had conversations, it can be messy too. It can be messy if people are not doing what they're supposed to do.
The time frame is so short.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the average person when they pass away, they're usually buried within a week. Look at those important decisions you have to make within a week.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine if you have people in disputes, it's much worse.
It truly is. You know, and those are uncomfortable situations. Like I told my kids, I have this thing I say to them. They get very upset with me when I say it, and I won't stop saying it. You'll miss me when I'm gone. And I let them know that. I said, you're going to miss me when I'm gone. But that's to remind them, I'm going to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know when. My prayer is that I go before them. But the thing about it is, I've sat them down and I said, this is what I want. I don't want to be on a ventilator. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want to be an organ donor. You know, those types of things. I've seen families go at it over there.
Oh, yes.
Let your folks know whether you want to be an organ donor. Let your folks know if you want to be cremated.
Yeah. You just...
I don't know how they're going to bury me yet. I don't want to go in the ground. I don't want to be cremated. I don't know.
Oh, Lord. See, I used to want to go in the mausoleum. We talked about that. And my husband,
now, we have this. Take my whole insurance policy.
Well, look, my husband, we have we laugh about it. But I'm good because my husband said if I leave here before him, and see, people think y'all talk about that. Yeah, we do. He said I'm going back to the dust from whence I came. So
my ex-husband made it clear he wanted to be cremated, and if I went before him, he was going to cremate me. I was like, no.
See, I don't want that. So and see again, you talked about it.
But let's talk about finances. Just so some of y'all know, it's so cheap to cremate somebody. Now, y'all can do what we did. I cremated my father because of finances, and I created my ex-husband because of his wishes. Now, what I did do, I did a little differently because the man at the funeral home was like, that's what you want. You can get creative. We still had a funeral with the body present.
Mm-hmm.
There just was not a burial. After the services, the body was taken to be cremated. However, I will let you know you're going to pay an extra $1,000 because you got to pay for the embalming.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's extra money. That's basically wasted money, but that's just because you wanted the funeral. Some people really have to have that connection in their funeral.
Absolutely.
That's your time to say goodbye or whatever. So what I did to appease certain family members and the kids, I wanted the body to be present with a funeral, but there was no burial.
Mm-hmm.
And it's thousands cheaper.
But you guys talked about it. That's the thing. It's having the conversations.
Those conversations came up.
Okay,
Now,
one of the
ain't worked out a game plan for me and my kids yet. But you know,
one of the ladies, she made a good point. She said it is not enough to just talk about it. It must be legal. When you have different people with different opinions at the table, that is when the friction starts. She's absolutely correct.
That is true. Now you can go ahead and get your, healthcare power of attorney. All of that stuff. You can make it legal. You can even make that legal in the hospital when you go in. There are a lot of people that come into the emergency room for a brief situation, and then they end up realizing they're not going to leave out. There are things in place that you can do at the hospital. I urge people not to wait.
Yeah, that's good.
And I do agree. It has to be legal because there's always going to be somebody that's not going to agree.
Yeah, it is. Unless you have a family that we ain't going to argue about anything. We ain't about that kind of stuff. But, there are a lot of families that will. So we just.
And I'm going to say this. You can have the most loving, caring family, and they all mean well. But death really takes a toll on some of us.
Oh, it does. You're right. You're telling the truth.
It's hard.
And it brings out the worst in some people, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember a situation years ago. I was a young girl, and I never forget it. My aunt and uncle was killed in a tragic car wreck. And both of them were young. And when we went back to my aunt and uncle's house, some family members had already walked away with belongings.
Oh, Lord.
And the bodies hadn't even made it to the funeral home yet.
Jesus. We got 3 minutes, Tut, so tell us.
Okay. And that's the kind of thing that we try to avoid.
Yes.
We get caught up so much sometimes in the material part of it, we don't think about the feelings. Can you imagine you're mourning the loss of family?
Yes.
And you got other folks feeling?
Yeah. It happens.
So all those things need to be addressed, as best you can. But I do encourage you. And to the sister that said it was legal, yes, it does need to be legal. It does need to be legal.
Well, I thank you. My God, I thank you. You just really touched some great points, some great information. And I thank you for coming on. Thank you for being willing. And I look forward to your first Tuesday of every month tips from Tut, because I know you're going to bring some great tips from us, because those tips you just gave us were absolutely magnificent. And it's so much. We need to listen to them. We really do need to take heed to all of those things you said about the family, about the talking about the hospital situations, getting things in order. And we just appreciate you, Tut. Thank you so much for being willing to come on and share with everyone. I love you, sister.
Love you, and thank you.
And I will see you on Focus on Freedom later on this month. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And guys, that's it for our show. We got a minute to 7:00. I thank you guys for tuning in. Listen, this month is full with surprises. We're going to be having sisterhood on one of these Tuesdays. Sisterhood of different races. These are sisters they're sisters. They're best friends. One is black, one is white, but they are tied. They are bond. They have a beautiful bond, and they're going to come and share with us about just things that they deal with with that sisterhood. So I'm excited about that. We're going to have one of our beautiful African American. Some people get offended if you say black, but African American sisters who is a police officer. She is going to be with us. Those topics are going to be really on fire. And then we're going to have a pastor from Australia is going to join us this month. So we really have some wonderful shows coming up for this month. So we're asking you to tune in to the Finding Me show every Tuesday. And then we're going to have our other sisters that are going to be here for the second, third, and fourth Tuesdays that are going to share their 15 minutes. And I look forward to you guys seeing you guys next week. You guys be blessed and have a wonderful rest of the week.